watching Gearz, brought to you by LMC Truck. Restore, maintain, customize.
Hey, welcome to Gearz. You know, if you pick up just about any automotive magazine these days, you're gonna find that muscle cars are hot. But people aren't just restoring them back original like they used to. No. These days, a lot of people want to upgrade them so they'll perform and handle like a modern car, but they'll still keep the look and the cool factor of that vintage sheet metal. A prime example of this kind of project is the V8 Interceptor we've got going here. Now, this started out as a '67 Mercury Cougar. First thing we did was cut out the shock towers, stick in a state-of-the-art front suspension. Then we stuffed in 520 cubic inches of big block Ford and a 6-speed Tremec transmission. And in the rear end, we've done absolutely nothing, which means the minute we uncork that big boss engine, we're gonna blow this stock rear end completely down the road. Fortunately, there's a simple solution to this problem, and all you muscle car guys are gonna be interested in this. Check it out. This is the new torque arm rear suspension system from Total Cost Involved, and it is designed to greatly improve every aspect of your rear suspension. Now, it starts with these subframe connectors made out of heavy gauge steel that ties the subframes together. Then you've got this X-style cross member that also goes to the subframes and triangulates it all together for incredible strength. Then you've got this really heavy-duty torque arm that controls the rear end and plants those rear tires to the pavement. Then you have link bars, you've got all kinds of bracketry. You've got sway bar, panhard bar, dual adjustable coilover shocks, and all kinds of hardware to bolt this thing in. So the first thing you need to do on this kind of project is get all that old junk out of the way. With that done, the first thing to go in are the subframe support brackets in the leaf spring pockets. The subframe connectors then mount to the brackets in the rear and then slide over the frame rails in front where they're bolted to the body and supported inside with reinforcing plates. Now, since most frame rails are buggered up a little bit, be prepared to use a little persuasion to make them fit.
There it goes.
The big cross member is next, and as you can see, it bolts in at the subframes front and rear to tie everything together and eliminate that body flex that's normally associated with the unibody car. Okay, the rear sway bar, the panhard bar, and the rear cross member all mount back in this area here. And these two brackets are what make it possible. So once again, all you have to do is slide them onto the frame, drill your holes, and bolt them on. We'll finish up by bolting the sway bar to the rear cross member. And then bolting the rear cross member in place. Now, at this point, we are ready for a rear end. Now, obviously, we need something seriously strong to match that massive engine. So we hooked up with our buddies at Curry Enterprises, had them put together a 9-inch Ford for us. Let's take a look at it. They started with their super strong F9 fabricated housing that's strong enough to handle massive amounts of abuse. Then Curry loaded it with a nodular iron center chunk that's packing 389 gears and a true track posi. Of course, sending the power to the wheels are heavy-duty forged 31 spline axles. To help pull this thing to a stop, we got big Wilwood disc brakes that feature a 13-inch rotor with an internal parking brake, and then these big 4-piston calipers. Then, to finish it off, Curry shipped the axle to Total Cost Involved, where they welded on all of these special brackets to make it fit their system. And this is how it all goes together. The torque arm simply bolts to the bottom of the housing. Then the pinion support rods bolt to the top of the housing and down into the torque arm. Now these rods are not only incredibly strong, but they're also adjustable, so you can easily adjust your pinion angle when you need to. With the axle jacked into place, install the coilover shocks. And the link bars into the brackets on the housing. Then finish it up by bolting on the panhard bar and connecting the sway bar end links to the axle. Hey, welcome back to Gearz. If you're just getting here, you've missed a bunch, because we have stuffed a total cost involved torque arm suspension underneath the V8 Interceptor. Now, as you can see, when you combine all this stuff together, the front suspension, the subframe assembly, and the rear suspension, you've got one of the most incredible suspensions that you can put under an early muscle car. And it's something that you can do in your own garage. Now at this point, all the modifications that we've done to this vehicle have been custom hot rod stuff, which is great, but eventually on a project like this, you are gonna need parts that are specific to the vehicle. And fortunately, the Cougar shares a lot of parts with the Mustang. So we made a call to Mustangs Unlimited to get some stuff for this project. Check it out. Now to keep that big engine cool, we got this heavy-duty aluminum radiator that's designed for a big block that's running air conditioning like we're gonna be. Now, as you can see, all the inlets and outlets and all the bungs are welded in place, and it's designed to bolt right in place of your stock radiator, so that's cool. Now, for fans, it comes with these dual electric fans and the shroud that mount right in place for a nice clean look, and it's low profile enough to where it will clear even that Boss engine. Now, for the interior, we got a replica of the 67-68 Shelby console and this wood grain Lucara steering wheel to kind of finish off that sports car look. Now, for hood pins, we got these press and twist style that went on the 68 California Special. And for hood hinges, we got these really cool billet aluminum hinges. That's about the coolest thing you can put under the hood of your Ford. Now, for seats, we got these Pro Car Rally seats that actually have the look of the original interior, but they're fully adjustable, have an adjustable headrest, and they have side bolsters to keep you from sliding out of the seat when you're doing some hard cornering. Now, to hold you in the seat, we also got these Corbeau 5-point harnesses. The best part is, though, all of this stuff will bolt right in your Mustang or Cougar with very little modification. Unfortunately, there's a lot of parts on a Cougar that are unique to the Cougar. So if you're going to restore one of these things, you got to know where to find this stuff. So the question is, where? The answer? West Coast Classic Cougars. Let's go. You're going to love this. West Coast Classic Cougars was founded in 1989 by Cougar enthusiast Don Rush. The main purpose? To keep these unique cars on the road.
I get to live vicariously through my customers. I get guys that call me every payday, and I walk through them over the phone or in person. What should I do here? And I got a little piece of me in every one.
Located in Salem, Oregon, where rust-free cars are still driving around, they not only specialize in new and reproduction Cougar parts, but they also carry quality used and NOS parts for the Cougar that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Valve covers. These were used on the XR7G. What's cool is when you call us, you're talking to an enthusiast. You're not just talking to somebody who got the job a few months ago that's going by what the book and the computer. This is a Cougar hardcore guy.
As you can see, they've got just about everything you're going to need to bring your Cougar back to life. They've got carpet sets, they've got all kinds of interior and exterior trim, they've got stereo systems, they've got every piece of weather stripping, every door handle, they've got consoles, they've got seat upholstery, and look at this. Sheet metal, floor pans, pedals, wings, spoilers. They've even got that hard-to-find stuff like re-chromed bumpers and padded dashes.
If you're diving into a Cougar, you better be in it for the love, because there's a lot more going on there. There's a lot of parts there. It's a harder car to do with that grille and the taillights and this, that, and the other.
But what really makes West Coast Classic Cougar different is if they've got a huge salvage yard full of cars, which means they have a supply of hard-to-find used parts like headlights and taillights and vent wings and sheet metal. And since most Cougar exterior sheet metal is not being reproduced, this becomes a very important source of body parts.
That's the way it's supposed to fit. Just right.
They also have a restoration service where they will restore the parts before they send them to you. So when you get them, all you have to do is bolt them on the car. And as you can see, there's quite a difference between a restored piece and one that came off of a 40-year-old car. And their restoration services are absolutely top-notch.
Unlike a Mustang or a Camaro where everything's new, you're stuck with restoring original stuff. Like these grills, nobody's going to reproduce that grill anytime soon. That trim, even if we did reproduce it, it'd be expensive and it never fits like OEM. So, if we want to make a Cougar a viable project for the average guy, we got to offer everything.
So, with all of the parts and support that are available for the Cougar, there's really no reason not to pick one of these things up as a project, because they're not only cool, they have unlimited potential. And we're going to prove that to you with the V8 Interceptor.
Now, Quick Tip, brought to you by E13 Spark Plugs, born to burn.
There's a couple of things that every gearhead wants out of their engine. More power and better fuel economy. That's a fact. Unfortunately, another fact is that there's a lot of manufacturers out there that make products that claim to do something and then they really don't deliver. So we have to be skeptical. So when E13 Spark Plugs came to me and said, we got this new spark plug that will give you more power and better fuel economy, I said what any gearhead would say, prove it. And they said, all right, let's make a trip to Michigan. So we did. Now you're wondering, why Michigan? Well, Michigan just happens to be the home of Michigan Tech, which is not only one of the premier technical schools in the nation, but also one of the foremost research and development facilities in the world.
Michigan Tech does about $60 million of research every year in a whole variety of disciplines. And that's one of the key things, and our students have a 90% success in finding a job in their discipline within a few months after graduation.
This is where auto manufacturers come to test new designs and technology. Oh, this is such a weird sensation. Snowmobile and motorcycle manufacturers test here. Racing teams. There's even rocket science going on here. So spark plug testing shouldn't be a problem.
We started testing back in the late 90s, and we're continuing to test today here at Michigan Tech, where they have all this tremendous equipment and facilities. We were able to find Michigan Tech through some associations in the industry and researched the company and or the school and found the great opportunities that we had here to further the testing that we like to do.
Preliminary dyno tests confirmed that the E13 plug was actually creating more power on less fuel than a conventional plug, especially at lower RPMs.
The burn starts off slowly and then really starts taking off, and that's what we see here. And then eventually, as the flame starts to quench against the cylinder walls and piston top, the rate of burn starts to decrease again before finally completely quenching out.
However, since the only way to truly evaluate the performance of a spark plug is to actually see what's going on in the combustion chamber, we screwed the plugs into a special glass-walled combustion chamber that was surrounded by laser beams and high-speed photography equipment. Yeah, we're about to do the impossible. Film a spark plug as it fires. With the data recorded, the computer began to analyze it, and the results were undeniable. And once again, these are exactly the same time?
Correct.
Good night. Okay, Jim, why is this growing so quick? Is that because of the little cage design?
Well, again, what we'll call the E3 technology creates that more rapid burn. They're starting at the same period of time, but you can see the flame rate progresses much more quickly.
So all this burn that's going on up here, that's, like you say, at this point, that's more power, that's more economy?
Actually, you're burning more of the fuel quicker, so you're producing higher cylinder pressure, which translates into better fuel economy and more power.
So I guess the really big question is it really possible to get more performance out of an engine just by swapping in these crazy looking spark plugs? Well, you've just seen the science and you've just seen the testing. The only thing left to do is to get you some and see what you think. Because if it is possible to get more performance and fuel economy out of a spark plug, well, you'd be crazy not to use them, wouldn't you?
And now, Parts Bin.
There's no doubt that custom paint is cool. The question is, where do you get all the candies and the pearls and the flakes that you need to make something truly one of a kind? Simple. Hot Hues from DuPont. As you can see, they have a whole palette of really cool custom colors. But they don't just do base coats. Oh man, they got everything. They got clear coats, they have undercoats, they've got candies, they've got powdered pearls, everything that you're gonna need to turn a simple paint job into a true work of art. So, whether you need pinstriping paint or hot rod black or just something that's got more visual punch than a stock OEM color, Hot Hues has got it, DuPont makes it, Color Match is where you gotta go to get it. Every hot rodder knows that airflow is one of the keys to engine performance, and nothing blows more air down into an engine than a supercharger. But superchargers are big and expensive, right? No, not since Wyand came out with this little Pro Street supercharger system. Now check this out. This is a complete supercharger system from manifold to carburetor, and it's designed to bolt right onto your engine in just a few hours and give you up to 40% more power without losing the daily drivability of the vehicle. And if you'll notice, this is low profile enough that this will fit under the hood of most vehicles if you use a low profile air cleaner. So you got the look, the power, the performance of a supercharger all wrapped up into a nice little package that you can use every day. It's the best of both worlds, and Wyand is who makes it possible. But what if a supercharger is just too much for you? Well, you can still benefit from getting more air into your engine by investing in one of these air intake systems from Air Raid. Now look at this. They've got systems that are designed to bolt right in place of your stock restrictive system. They've got all the brackets and hardware you're gonna need. They've got nice radius tubing that'll give you good airflow. And of course, they got that high flowing filter that lasts forever. These systems are designed and proven on the dyno to give you more horsepower and more torque. But what if you're building a custom vehicle? I've done an engine swap. Well, you need to invest in one of these universal kits that allows you to custom design and build the system that you need for whatever you're working on. So if you're serious about getting more airflow into your engine, Air Raid can help you do that. Now, what if you're one of those people that even installing an air intake system is more wrenching than you want to do or can afford? Well, there's still hope for you, because Econoaid has this simple little product called the throttle body booster. Now take a look at this. This is a simple piece of aluminum that has fixed teeth in it, and it basically bolts between your throttle body and your intake manifold. Now when the air flows through it, the teeth create turbulence in the airflow, which Econoaid claims gives you better fuel atomization, which results in better throttle response and a little better fuel mileage. The best part is, Aunt Thelma can install one of these things in about 5 minutes. It's only 30 bucks, and it comes with a complete money-back guarantee from Econo8 if it doesn't do what they say it will. You can't beat that deal, and it doesn't get any simpler than that.
What are you working on? Brought to you by Miller Electric, the leading manufacturer of arc welding and cutting equipment for your business or home shop.
Since we've been working on a Mercury today, do you have any idea what a 65 Comet Caliente looks like? Well, if you don't, here's a picture of one that's been sitting in a field for about 40 years. Now look at that engine. Look at that interior. It looks like there's a bunch of goats been living in that thing. But that's exactly the car that Joe Finks wanted as his first car. So he talked to his dad, and they went and bought it. Now here's a shot of them loading it up, bringing it home, and they started to tear the car down. Now the whole idea here was that Joe would restore the car and his dad would help him. So as you can see, they stripped it all down, and then the car went to paint and body, was stripped down to bare metal, and while it was at paint and body, they started working on the engine. And of course, Joe doing most of the work with Dad watching him. Here's a shot of the guys working together. What a great team. Now these guys have been working on this car for about 2 years, but look at the results they've got. Man, what a great looking car. Now of course it's not completely finished, but it's close enough to where Joe can actually drive it and enjoy it. But he says one of the best things about this project is that he's learned so much about cars that his buddies are actually coming to him, wanting him to work on their cars, and he's thinking about opening his own shop. Joe, go for it, man. Matter of fact, to help you out, we're gonna give you one of these Miller welding jackets for when you open your shop. And Joe, when you're ready to put another engine in that car, you know what to ask for Christmas. Now, for the rest of you guys, if you want to get your vehicle featured on the show, send some text, some pictures in to staceydavid.com. We'll do the best we can to get it on the air. Also, if you want to see some extra footage of our time with West Coast Classic Cougars, it's also on the website. All right, that's going to do it for today. Make sure that you get out there and work on something this week because it's good for your soul, man. We'll see you next week.